Norddeutscher Rundfunk is a public radio and television broadcaster, based in Hamburg. In addition to the city-state of Hamburg, NDR transmits for the German states of Lower Saxony, Mecklenburg-Vorpommern and Schleswig-Holstein. NDR is a member of the ARD Consortium. Studios. NDR's studios in Hamburg are in two locations, both within the borough of Eimsbüttel. The television studios are in the quarter of Lokstadt, while the radio studios are in the quarter of Rotherbaum, a little closer to the city centre. There are also regional studios, having both radio and television production facilities, in the state capitals Hanover, Kiel and Schwerin. In addition, NDR maintains facilities at ARD's national studios in Berlin. Funding. NDR is in part funded by the limited sale of on-air commercial advertising time. However, its principal source of income is the revenue derived from viewer and listener license fees. As of 2015, the monthly fee due from each household for radio and television reception was €17.50. These fees are collected not directly by NDR but by a joint agency of ARD, ZDF, and Deutschlandradio stations. NDR currently provides a number of services on its own or in cooperation with other broadcasters. Television ARD Das Erste, joint national channel. NDR Fernsehen, third public service channel for NDR area and Bremen, in cooperation with Radio Bremen. Phoenix, events channel produced by ARD and ZDF. K, children's channel produced by ARD and ZDF. AT, Franco-German culture channel. 3SAT, cultural channel, co-produced by ARD, ZDF, UF, and SRG. Tagesschau 24. Radio NDR 90.3 local station for Hamburg, playing music for older listeners. NDR 1 Niedersachsen, local station for Lower Saxony, run from Hanover with some regional opt-outs. Plays music for older listeners. NDR 1 Welle Nord, local station for Schleswig-Holstein, run from Kiel with some regional opt-outs. Plays music for older listeners. NDR 1 Radio MV, local station for Mecklenburg-Vorpommern, run from Schwerin with some regional opt-outs. Plays music for older listeners. NDR 2 Popular music station for middle-aged listeners. This is a commercial public service station. NDR Culture, arts and culture station. Plays classical music. NDR Info, news and information station. Enjoy, youth station. Nordwest Radio, cultural station for Northwest Lower Saxony and Bremen, produced jointly with Radio Bremen. NDR Blue, music, away from the charts. Musical organizations. NDR has 4 musical organizations, including 2 orchestras, a chorus and a big band. NDR Symphonie Orchester, the North German Radio Symphony Orchestra, created in 1945 as the Symphony Orchestra of the NWDR and continued by NDR under its current name since 1955. Principal conductors have included Gunter Wand and John Elliott Gardner. NDR Radio Philharmonie, the NDR Radio Philharmonic, created in 1950 as the Hanover Radio Orchestra of the NWDR and continued by NDR under its current name since 1955. Principal conductors have included Willi Steiner and Bernhard Clay. The orchestra plays light classical or concert hall music. NDR Chororchor des Norddeutschen Rundfunks, created in 1946 by the NWDR and continued under its current name by NDR since 1955. The choir specializes in alto music, but a broad repertoire also includes contemporary music. NDR Big Band, created by the NWDR and continued by NDR in 1955 as the NDR Studio Band, renamed NDR Big Band in 1971. Transmitters: FM, MW and TV Hamburg Billwerder, Hemmingen, Flensburg, Kronschhagen, Lingen, FM and TV Steinkirchen, Torfhaus, Zanien, Osnabrück, Aurich Popens, Göttingen, Lauenburg, Bungsburg, Welmbüttel, Heide, Sylt, Visseloved, Cuxhaven, Kronschhagen, Mecklenburg-Vorpommern. In Mecklenburg-Vorpommern, in the former East Germany, NDR programs are broadcast from facilities owned by Media Broadcast GmbH, a former subsidiary of the Deutsche Telekom AG. Other facilities: Whitmore Measurement and Reception Station. History. For 1924 to 1955 in detail, see Norddeutscher Rundfunk. Pre-war. In 1924 broadcasting began in Hamburg, when Norddeutscher Rundfunk AG was created. In 1934 it was incorporated into the Großdeutscher Rundfunk, the national broadcaster controlled by Joseph Goebbels' propaganda ministerium, as Reichssender Hamburg. In 1930, NORAG commissioned the Welter Funkorgel, a large theatre organ custom-built by the firm of M. Welter & Sons to meet the specific acoustic requirements of radio broadcasting, and installed it in their radio studio on Rothenbaumchaussee 132, Hamburg, where it continues to be played, now maintained by volunteers. Post-war. In the British zone of occupied Germany, the military authorities quickly established Radio Hamburg to provide information to the population of the area. The British Control Commission appointed Hugh Green to manage the creation of public service broadcasting in their zone. On the 22nd of September 1945, Radio Hamburg became Norddeutscher Rundfunk, the single broadcasting organization of the British zone. Landed control. In 1948, the Control Commission transferred the Norddeutscher Rundfunk to the control of the constituent Länder. At first, NWDR had just one radio station, later known as NWDR1. In 1950, it introduced a regional station for the North, NWDR Nord, and a regional station for the West, NWDR West. That same year, NWDR became a founding member of ARD. The NWDR also played a founding role in launching 625-line television in Germany, starting broadcasts on 25 December 1952. NWDR split in February 1955. North Rhine-Westphalia decided to establish its own broadcaster, whilst Hamburg, Lower Saxony, Schleswig-Holstein continued with the existing system. To this end, the NWDR was split into two broadcasters, Norddeutscher Rundfunk in the north and Westdeutscher Rundfunk in North Rhine-Westphalia. NDR continued to operate out of Hamburg. The split was effective from 1 January 1956, although the station NWDR1 remained a joint operation with regional opt-outs. The NWDR television service also remained a joint operation, from 1 April 1956 under the name Nord- und Westdeutscher Rundfunkverband. NDR and WDR launched separate television services for their respective areas in 1961. NDR history. On 1 December 1956, NDR started its third radio channel, NDR3. In 1958, Ann Koller became the musical director of Hamburg's NDR Jazz Workshop, which became a popular radio broadcast. Numerous names in jazz performed on these broadcasts including Kenny Clarke, Lucky Thompson, Wes Montgomery, Johnny Griffin, Oscar Peterson, Ben Webster, Sahib Shihab, Carmel Jones, Lee Konitz, Cecil Payne, Slide Hampton, Phil Woods, Jazz Composers Orchestra, Howard Riley, Barry Guy, John Surman, the Coon Brothers and Barney Willen. Some of these have been released since 1987, while the older ones only exist as rare bootlegs, sought after by many jazz aficionados. On 4 January 1965, NDR, Radio Bremen and SFB began a joint, third-channel, television service, Norddeutsches Fernsehen, later Nord 3 and N3. Since December 2001, this service is called NDR Fernsehen. SFB started a separate TV channel for Berlin in 1992, called B1, later SFB1, now RBB Fernsehen. In 1977, Gerhard Stoltenberg, the minister-president of Schleswig-Holstein, unilaterally cancelled the NDR Staatsvertrag, the governing body of NDR. This caused a discussion how to organize broadcasting in the North German region. In 1980, NDR signed a new convention with the Three Länder, changing the pattern of broadcasting and creating new regional services. NDR1 was divided into 3 independent radio stations from the 2nd of January 1981. NDR1 Radio Niedersachsen for Lower Saxony, NDR1 Welle Nord for Schleswig-Holstein, NDR Hamburg Welle 90.3 for Hamburg, NDR2 and NDR3 continued as regional stations. These regional services were further subdivided with opt-outs for specific areas. NDR1 Niedersachsen established regions based around Oldenburg, Ostfriesland, Bremen, Cuxhaven, Osnabrück, Emsland, Greater Hanover, Braunschweig, Southern Lower Saxony and Northern Lower Saxony. NDR1 Welle Nord was subdivided with studio centers in Flensburg, Heide, Norderstedt, Lübeck and Kiel. On 30 September 1988, NDR introduced a teletext service on its N3 television channel. Originally called Nordtext, it became NDR Text on 2 December 2001. The teletext service also offers information for viewers in the Radio Bremen area under the title Radio Bremen Text. On 1 April 1989, NDR introduced its 4th radio service, NDR4. This service was later renamed NDR4 Info and since 2 June 2002 has been known as NDR Info. The station is a news and information service for the whole NDR region. On 1 January 1992, Mecklenburg-Vorpommern in the former East Germany joined NDR as the 4th state in the organization. The area receives the main NDR radio and television stations, plus the regional NDR1 Radio MV, which has subregions based in Schwerin, Rostock, New Brandenburg and Greifswald. In October of the same year, SFB in Berlin stopped relaying the Nord 3 television service in favor of its own Berlin 1 TV channel. On 4 April 1994, NDR introduced Enjoy Radio, a radio station aimed at 14 to 29-year-old listeners. On 3 October 1997, NDR3 was relaunched as Radio 3, produced in cooperation with Norddeutscher Rundfunk Brandenburg. At the end of 2000, SFB joined Radio 3. This arrangement lasted until Auburn SFB merged on 1 January 2003 and started its own classical and culture network. NDR3 became NDR Culture on 1 January 2003. On 1 November 2001, NDR and Radio Bremen launched a joint radio station, Nordwest Radio, to serve Bremen and Northwest and Lower Saxony. This service replaced Radio Bremen 2 and control of the service remains with Radio Bremen, as the organization responsible within the ARD consortium of German public service broadcasters for overseeing the country's participation in the Eurovision Song Contest. NDR staged the 56th annual contest which was held in Düsseldorf on 10 to 14 May 2011, outside their own broadcasting area. Directors 1955 to 1961. Walter Hilpitt, 1961 to 1974. Gerhard Schroeder, 1974 to 1980. Martin Neufer, 1980 to 1987. Friedrich Wilhelm Raucher, 1987 to 1991. Peter Schuey, 1991 to 2008. Jobst Plog, 2008 present. Lutz Marmer,